Good evening and welcome to Undaunted, bringing into the news untold stories. I am Star Smart. Let's begin. It is another Monday, and for Ambans, another lockdown day. Ambazonians, known for making the most out of everything, have also found an interesting way of making the most out of Monday lockdowns. A day adopted as one of a civil disobedience move has now been capitalized on by the people of Ambazonia as a day to keep fit. Monday lockdowns now see people increasing in sports and activities as they respect the lockdown day. The wish the people of Southern Cameroon are expressing in respect of the declared Monday ghost town is evident that the things uniting Amazonians are far more greater than the few divergent points. Meanwhile, the fun of Bambalang, His Royal Highness Yakum Kelvin II, talking after spending 18 months in the bushes in captivity in the hands of the marine forces of Bambalang, that his long stay in captivity is the price for peace to return to Ambazonia. The restoration of the statehood of former British Southern Cameroon, also known as Ambazonia, is the sole move that brings back lasting peace to Ambazonia. Though the phone of Bambalang has beaten the record of the longest staying person in captivity after being kidnapped, it is not the solution to the Ambazonian struggle. Well, we'll get into the full briefings of Undaunted tonight, starting with the prime headlines.
All right, these are the prime headlines for today. The fun of Bambalang's declaration one too many. Oh well, he had stylishly declared himself as a peace messiah. Also tonight we will be looking at the Beijing reach out. We will see what the president had to say about that particular reach out. Amazonian students penalized by La Republic du Cameroon. Paint of Ambazonian students with La Republic du Cameroon examination timetable. And on the foreign scene, we're looking at the US presidential race. Well, it seems like more Republicans has joined the 2024 presidential race. Now let's get the news in detail.
We want to grow it, expand it, hire and train more hands, and broadcast round the clock, around the world, and take command of the media space of this world.
You can enjoy all round the clock, 24/7 exclusive moments of bliss as an ABC Amba TV Club member. A cappella. Latest Nigerian stroke African movies, global politics, ABC Amba News and updates, historical documentaries, and lots more. In our daily programs, we have Undaunted, ABC Amba News, bringing into the news untold stories with Onyi Okpala, and Star Smart. Exclusive discussion, revolutionary panel conversation, infotainment, edutainment, intro governmental debates on topical issues with Tar Paddy King, State of the Liberation Movement, Fronting IG, and People of Ambazonia's position. The Struggles Weekly Update with Secretary Martin Mungwa, PhD, FASCE. Health is wealth, health education, and awareness within the Ambazonian community with Dr. Yaya. Liberation prayer and intercessory ministry for Ambazonia with Pastor Victor Amba. Our freedom, spiritual awareness, and education for the Ambazonian community with Pastor Victor Amba and Pastor Commando. Church and politics, neutralizing the myths and preconceived religious and political philosophies that limit the Christian involvement in the realms of decent politics with Pastor Commando. The Horizon, the voice of the Ambazonian woman with Dr. Patience Abiedo and Lady Casey. Our Amber History, bringing to limelight the hidden history of Ambazonia to the world with Pastor Commando. Appointment on community building, education on patriotism within the Ambazonian communities with Ma Rachel Itatima. Ethics for an Imagined Nation, watchdog of basic principles and morals of a nation at war with Ma Dorothy Ngwa. Upcoming programs: Pigeon News, Vernacular Talk Show, County Roots, Activists Corner, Amba Focus, only on ABC Amba Television. We the people, the voice of the voiceless. For 24/7 access, subscribe as a club member on www.abcambatv.com/subscribe.
Many have paid prices of different magnitudes as far as the ugly side of the war in southern Cameroon's Ambazonia is concerned. No matter the quality and quantity of victims of the war, unless the root causes of the conflict are addressed, no matter what an individual or a group of people goes through, it cannot restore peace. The fun of Bambalang, His Royal Highness Yakum Kelvin II, talking after spending 18 months in the bushes in captivity in the hands of the Marine Forces of Bambalang. That his long stay in captivity is the price for peace to return to Ambazonia. Well, he just spent months in captivities and considers his prize the biggest. The question is, what of those who have lost their lives, either by defending their motherland Ambazonia or innocently, like journalists Anye Ndenso? Many have lost properties as well, some their sources of livelihood, and some in horrible living conditions in Nigeria and neighboring La Republic du Cameroon. What's the war? Others have lost their lives. All these fails to bring back peace to Ambazonia. Well, before we go into what he had to say in full detail, this is where we will begin the full brief face of Undaunted tonight. How are you doing, sir?
Very well, Onyi. Good evening, Ambazonians. The restoration of the statehood of former British Southern Cameroons, Ambazonia is the sole move that brings back lasting peace to Ambazonia. Though the fun of Bambalang has beaten the record of the long-stayed person in captivity after being kidnapped, it is not the solution to the Ambazonian struggle. The Fon Yakum Kelvin II of Bambalang has regained his freedom after spending 18 months in the hands of the Marine Forces of Bambalang. The Fon's outing after his release was at the welcome reserved for him at the Colonial Northwest Regional Assembly on Friday, June 4, 2023.
In his address to other Fons and those who came out to welcome him, Fon Yakum Kelvin II said His long stay in the bush is a price he had to pay and is a price for all the funds. He says all the people of Amazonia, and it marks the turning in the conflict, a price for peace to return to Amazonia. At the time of his kidnap, Fawn Kelvin was the president of the Colonial Northwest House of Chiefs and vice president of the Colonial Northwest Regional Assembly. Even though the Colonial La Republic de Cameroon's government is taking the glory for the release of the fund, the release is masterminded by the Marine Forces of Bambalang, a group to sabotage the Ambazonian Restoration Forces and make money from ransom gotten from his kidnapped victims.
Well, the Marine Forces of Bambalang, who kidnapped the phone of Bambalang, a lawyer to the Unity Warriors of Bui, in place by Yawande, by Ayabacho, Capo Daniel, and Chris Anno, not for the interest of Ambazonians, unfortunately.
For the armed forces, I go thank Minister of Defense and the collaborators and the population where they do work with them for get my release today. I thank them all. Message where I go give them for country people and say, I don't stay 1 year and a half for bush. I remember say me, I don't pay the price for all funding for Northwest. I don't pay the price for all people for Northwest. And by so doing, I did give them peace, peace, and peace. They make my release be a turning point for peace to come back for the Northwest.
The president started by appreciating the director of youth. This is where we'll get into the aspect of the president's speech during the interview on Saturday. The president started his speech by appreciating the director of youth, sport, and cultural affairs, Dr. Bashi, for the initiative to mobilize the grassroots based in the Amazonians. He further appealed to the directorate to help share the goals and values of the struggle. More so, he praised our similarities in cultures and also values. Well, I'm sure you want to see or hear it for yourself how the president laid this speech. We'll get the video now.
Fellow Ambazonians, let me thank the Director of Youth, Sports and Cultural Affairs, Dr. Bashi, for this pioneer initiative to mobilize our grassroots base in the diaspora at this strategic moment in our struggle. Let your directorate help us to continue emphasizing what unites us more than what divides us. Our similarities instead of our differences. Our identity that we were born with instead of our diverse achievements and experiences. We are all Ambazonians, and that is what matters most. None can take that away from any of us. So what unites us is bigger and better than what separates us.
Right, concerning the prosecution of our struggle, the president said that the interim government is championing the race of the struggle, and of course, Ambazonians in diaspora should support and believe in them. He asked Ambazonians not to abandon the struggle regardless of what people say. He reminded them that we are in a very crucial time, and it will take our collective resolve to get success at this time.
Concerning the prosecution of our struggle, it was wise to place your bet on many horses at the beginning. But 7 years later, it will make sense to narrow down your bet on the horse or horses that are still active in the race, unless you are calling off the race, and that will mean surrender. The IG is still championing this race, and I invite you all to bet on the IG horse. We shall not fail Ambazonia. Permit me to ask you this question. For you to abandon this survival endeavor of looking all said Berlin.
ABC Amba TV payment channels. Cash App 202-650-2216. Zelle 240-486-8768. Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. PayPal donations at abcambatv.com. For more details, call +124 028 43 111. You can email us at info@abcambatv.com.
Concerning the prosecution of our struggle, it was wise to place your bet on many horses at the beginning, but 7 years later, it will make sense to narrow down your bet on the horse or horses that are still active in the race, unless you are calling off the race, and that will mean surrender. The IG is still championing this race, and I invite you all to bet on the IG horse. We shall not fail Ambazonia. Permit me to ask you this question. For you to abandon this survival endeavor we call Ambazonia because of what somebody else did or said does not make sense to anyone who is looking up to us for victory. That is the mindset we should all have as Ambazonians. That is the message you are sending out from Berlin to all Ambazonians today. Fellow countrymen and women, we are at a very crucial time in the history of our God-ordained struggle. The moment is a make or mar moment. Our collective resolve has been tried and tested by time, by diverse pressures, by many afflictions, by evil men and women. and by predatory systems. That if we are still here fighting, it is because we have survived, or should I say triumphed, through many deadly waves.
Now addressing the Amazonian Restoration Forces, the president appealed to them not to be like the blacklegs who will rather eat crumbs and sell her people rather than brace up and join the struggle, and gave a little history on the United Nations Mandate Federation. Let's hear.
We are all refugees without a free land. Unfortunately, some of our comrades won't mind to abandon the truth and sell it for some crumbs falling from our enemy's table. They agree with those who pray us to sacrifice the truth of our history, accept internal fixes such as the spurious 1961 federal system, forgetting that that federation was a pretext and part of La République du Cameroon grand scheme to annex and assimilate us. As far as La République du Cameroon is concerned, it never happened. The pretext was set in their annexationist constitution of September 1961, following which Ahidjo appointed our Prime Minister, Augustine Gomjoa, dissolved our institutions and political parties. Before annexation, we elected our premier. After annexation, La République du Cameroon appointed our premier and dismissed him at will. Today, some want to prescribe the same failed medication as the right treatment for our demise. If a UN-mandated federation of states of equal status did not guarantee our rights in the Union, is it a La République du Cameroon concocted federation that will address our fears and losses? Consider that the UN-mandated federation was, in actual fact, a quasi-confederation of two states of equal status. Why should anyone prescribe an internal Cameroonese federation to address a problem of sovereignty where an international confederation failed?
In that particular speech, the president asked some pertinent questions. Questions based on sovereignty, special status, war on assimilation, annexation, referendum, warrant of arrest as well.
And my dear international stakeholders, why should the annexation of the southern Cameroons by La République du Cameroon be normalized by reciting Cameroon's lie that we are one and indivisible? And should a referendum be condemned for Russia annexed Donbas province, but prescribed as good for Cameroon annexed Ambazonia? What a world of double standards. It is either there is no international laws or there is international law. Why is there a warrant of arrest for Putin, but none for Paul Biya? These are healthy debates we may freely engage in as a people, our understanding of these issues notwithstanding.
Well, the president also challenged other chapters to help organize other activities across different parts of the world, especially as 1st October is around the corner. The president also noted that the world has turned her cameras to Ukraine.
We must not allow our differences and preferences, however, or our understanding of the issues, our ties with individuals, our choices on this slippery slope, and our errors in judgment to remove us away from our mission to support our dying people. We must fight till victory comes. The reset of the IG in 2019 took place here in Germany, in Berlin. I hope this initiative here today will have a domino effect in the struggle as we mobilize towards the all-European 1st October independence celebration. Our chapters in the Americas, Africa, and Asia. I use this opportunity to call on all our ambassadors, government officials, and patriotic supporters to begin planning and mobilization towards a triumphant 1st October 2023 in our various chapters. The Ukrainian war has eclipsed all other wars or crises going on now in the world. It is time for Amazonians to come out and scream the loudest and be heard because the ongoing genocide in Amazonia did not stop since the world turned their cameras to Ukraine. If the victims are silent, consciences will be quieted and the world will forget them. Let us mobilize till victory comes. Long live the Federal Republic of Amazonia, and God bless you all.
And in another development, the 2023 La République du Cameroon organized official examinations have further exposed how Biya's regime is discriminating against Ambazonian students and Cameroonese students in La République du Cameroon. There is a way of life in Ambazonia with the contest of the war against the colonial tendencies of La République du Cameroon. For example, in Ambazonia, Mondays are lockdown days. A lockdown day implies no office, no institution is operational, even institutions of learning, meaning therefore students or schools are not functional in Ambazonia on Mondays, and this is not the case with La République du Cameroon, where Mondays for students are just like any other day of school. Considering this situation, La République du Cameroon has set the same examination questions for both La République du Cameroon students and Ambazonian students. Well, this is a calculated move to disfavor Ambazonian students. How can the same questions be administered to a student who has fewer study hours than a student with more study hours?
Well, the above is not just the malpractice with the 2023 La Republic organized official examinations in Amazonia. The other is the fact that the Amazonian students, as part of the La Republic's examination timetable, are compelled to write on Monday. This is another move to frustrate the Amazonian students by the La Republic government, given that there is no circulation on Monday in Amazonia. How do they expect the students to access different examination centers, given that there is no means of mobility available? The La Republic government's official examination timetable for the 2023 session disfavors Amazonian students in two aspects. Undaunted has gathered that, as concerned, the La Republic's organized the end circle examination for 2023. The questions are administered to students in Amazonia as well as those in La Republique du Cameroon. Another fact gathered by Undaunted is that Amazonian students are forced to write on Monday, a day observed as a lockdown day.
Well, for both information, the La République du Cameroon students have the upper hand to perform better than Ambazonian students. La République du Cameroon students have more study hours than Ambazonian students. La République du Cameroon students have 5 school days, whereas there are just 4 study days in Ambazonia. This disparity is because Mondays in Ambazonia are lockdowns, yet the La République du Cameroon colonial government sets the same questions for these two different categories of students. Conscious of the fact that there are no means of transportation available for students on Mondays in Amazonia, the La Republic du Cameroon's government decides to establish an examination time for Amazonian students with Mondays as one of the written days. If the Amazonian students must write, they have to trek, and trekking means that either they reach the examination late or they get there tired. At first time, Amazonian students who made it to the examination centers are writing their end of circle examination.
Well, one of the concepts Bamenda, the chief town of the Midland zone of Ambazonia, is a deep on the stretch. The colonial La Republic's military men with 6 extortion points and a group of armed gang posing to be Amba fighters also still position at within these three different extortion points.
The transporters on the plantain road do charge the traders high fares with reasons that they allow Republic to Cameroon military extortion points to settle. At the extortion points of the fake Amazonian.
Latest Nigerian stroke African movies, global politics, ABC Amba News and updates, historical documentaries, and lots more. In our daily programs, we have Undaunted, ABC Amba News, bringing into the news untold stories with Onyi Opala and Star Smart. Exclusive discussion, revolutionary panel conversation, infotainment, edutainment, intro governmental debates on topical issues with Tar Paddy King, State of the Liberation Movement, Fronting IG and People of Ambazonia's Position, the Struggles Weekly Update with Secretary Martin Mungwa, PhD, FASC, Health is Wealth, Health Education and Awareness within the Ambazonian Community with Dr. Yaya, Liberation Prayer and Intercessory Ministry.
The plantains put at the disposal of the people of Bamenda around the hospital roundabout sales points are gotten from Bateau. Bateau is a locality after Widukum local government area of Momo County. The people of Bateau have a one per week market day, which is rotary. The plantain traders on the road master the market day. So even though there is a particular market day, there are some days that these traders will get to the market and will not find any plantains available, as nothing compels these farmers to bring plantains to the market, and also because they harvest based on their own needs.
Well, the traders seldom come back the same day they leave Bamenda for butter. This, according to the traders, is because the supply is less than the demand. So they have to spend an extra day or two to be able to get enough plantains to subsidize the transportation cost. The least amount for a bunch of plantain in batter is 500 francs CFA, and biggest is at most 500 francs CFA. For the traders to be able to make some gains with the different expenditures they incur, is to set up the price when they arrive in Bamenda. Plantains are one of the most consumed staple by the people of Amazonia in Bamenda. From the records gathered, Trump actually started his campaigns earlier. With his intention and passions, he carried the Republicans together, pushing the Republican agenda as well. Well, it would appear that his presence in the race threatens the Democratic Party. Well, according to his own words, he said, they are manipulating the courtroom to indict me. Now, if Trump wins, will he be of great benefit to the Southern Cameroons? Because the Biden's administration, regardless of controversies, has been fair to the Southern Cameroons by granting temporary protective status to us. But let's see other Republicans interested in the race.
Three denizens of the Republican establishment will be launching presidential campaigns this week. The race for the 2024 nomination has begun to resemble the sprawling 2016 field that proved a huge boon to unfancied outsider Donald Trump. This time, the 76-year-old tycoon is the runaway fourth runner, but the conventional wisdom remains the same. The larger the chasing pack, the more likely he is to win by dividing the anti-Trump vote.
While former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, who was trounced by Trump in 2016, is expected to launch a fresh bid at the White House on Tuesday, a day ahead of ex-Vice President Mike Pence and North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum. Christie, who will announce a new hemisphere, presents a new novel challenge as the only contender so far willing to land genuinely damaging blows on Trump as he makes his case for 4 years in the Oval Office.
The 60-year-old Newark native has already begun needling his former friend, arguing last month that the former reality TV star and real estate tycoon was afraid of debating serious opponents. Trump has indicated that he may skip at least one of the first two debates, expressing a reluctance to share the limelight with lower polling. Remember, this played out as well in the Nigerian elections too. According to Christie, he says if he really cares about the country, and he says, I have deep questions about that. But if he really cares about the country, then he's going to get up there and he shouldn't be afraid.
Well, federal prosecutor came in sixth in New Hampshire 7 years ago and eventually endorsed Trump, serving as a key advisor before the pair had a high-profile falling out. Christie has since assailed Trump on all manner of issues, highlighting the escalating criminal probes targeting the embattled billionaire, trashing his false claims of election fraud and dubbing him Putin's puppet over his isolationist stance on Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Trump revealed that he relishes the chaos of a crowded field when he welcomed his first serious opponent, who is the former South Carolina's Governor Nikki Haley, to the race in February, telling newsmen, the more the merrier.
John Ellis, a former head of the network's election night decision desk, told the press that Christie's candidacy could put Trump on the back foot. He says because he will attack Trump, his campaign will get a ton of coverage in the mainstream press, which may help him do well in New Hampshire.
By midweek, there will be 10 major candidates in the Republican primary and another four also runs. But Trump has a 30-plus point lead over his closest rival, Ron DeSantis, the Florida governor. Pence, Trump's unwaveringly loyal vice president turned reluctant critic. While he is expected to launch his campaign on Wednesday ahead of a CNN town hall in lower. But 44-year-old DeSantis also began to fire off explicit broadsides against his rival, questioning the frontrunner's commitment to conservatism, his effectiveness in office, and his prospects of victory against President Joe Biden.
While liberals watching the race with a mixture of amusement and horror have been split between those cheering on Trump, believing he will be the easiest one to beat in the general elections, and those who would rather see anyone else prevail, even if it means losing the White House. Democratic election strategist Emmanuel's Onyoha told the press that the opponents in the Republican primary can try their hardest, but if rape allegations and insurrection couldn't waver Trump's base, these candidates will not either.
Well, if Trump eventually wins the preliminary as the Republican nominee, what could be the benefit for Amazonians? Well, will Africans, like the immigrants, prefer their Biden's administration or Trump's eventually? Well, let's see what happens next.
AC Milan's Zlatan Ibrahimovic has retired from football at the age of 41, bringing to an end one of the modern era's most glittering careers. The Swede told the San Siro crowd after Sunday's last game of the season, "I say goodbye to football, but not to you."
Well, and in golf, Rose Zangas won the Miho Americans Open on her LPGA tour just 9 days after turning professional. American Zhang, who is 20 years, beat Jennifer Kupcher, who is 26, in a second-hole playoff at the 18th, becoming the first woman to win on her first LPGA appearance. Well, Gab Ellison has more.
Latest world sports. Football. Zlatan Ibrahimovic retires. Swedish great ends football career at 41. AC Milan's Zlatan Ibrahimovic has retired from football at the age of 41, bringing to an end one of the modern era's most glittering careers. "I say goodbye to football, but not to you," the Swede told the San Siro crowd after Sunday's last game of the season. Ibrahimovic had already announced he would leave the Italian club. He scored 511 goals for clubs including Paris Saint-Germain, Manchester United, and both AC and Inter Milan, winning league titles for countries. Ibrahimovic began his second spell with AC Milan in early 2020, having won the Scudetto with them in 2011 and helped them win the title again last season. But he played only 4 times and started 1 match for the Serie A side this term and scored 1 goal following a series of injuries, and his contract was set to expire this month. "There are too many emotions for me right now. Forza Milan and goodbye," an emotional Ibrahimovic said, holding back tears. "The first time I came here, you gave me happiness. The second time, you gave me love. You welcomed me with open arms. You made me feel at home. I will be a Milanista for the rest of my life." Ibrahimovic won 34 trophies, including 14 league titles, in a career that began in the last century, and was nominated for the Ballon d'Or 11 times. The one major club trophy that eluded him was the Champions League, with his only European title coming with Manchester United in the shape of the 2017 Europa League. The striker also retires as Sweden's all-time top scorer with 62 international goals in 122 matches. He quit the national side after Euro 2016, but returned in 2021 for their unsuccessful World Cup qualifying campaign. "I used to be scared when journalists asked me about my future, but now I can accept it. I'm ready," he told reporters after his announcement. "I've been doing this all my life. Football made me a man. It allowed me to know people I otherwise would never have known. I've traveled the world thanks to football. It's all thanks to football. Al Ahly down-weeded in Cairo to earn Total Energies CAF CL advantage. Al Ahly drew his first blood against Wydad Athletic Club, edging them out 2-1 at the Cairo International Stadium in the first leg of the Total Energies CAF Champions League on Sunday night. Persitao and Mahmoud Karaba scored a goal in either half from a pair of Hussein El Shahad assists as the Red Devils edged closer to record-extending 11th Champions League title, but Wydad gave themselves a good chance with an away goal. Substitute set Adine Bora scoring with 4 minutes left to keep the tie within reach for the return fixture. In an entertaining duel, Ali went to the break, a goal up courtesy of Tao's bullet header at a stroke of 45 minutes. El Shahad showed determination to fight and get to a Hamdi Fati overheat pass on the byline, curling in a cross that landed on the South African international unmarked at the far post. Before that, Ali, who had 75% of possession in the opening half, had some chances to score. In the 18th minute, the ball landed kindly into Karaba's path, but the latter's low shot was saved by the keeper. Ali had a penalty decision overruled by VAR on the half-hour mark. The referee had initially pointed to the spot after Ali Malou's free kick seemingly bounced off a hand inside the box, but after visiting the pitchside monitor, the ref changed his initial decision. Wydad came close to breaking the deadlock in the 39th minute, but were denied by a brilliant Mashoubor save. The custodian sprinted off his line to narrow the gap and save Reda Jadi's volley after Boli Sambu had nodded down a free kick for him. In the second half, the game was off to a fast-paced start, and Karaba had 2 shots saved by the keeper back-to-back 7 minutes after the restart. On the other end, Aymani El Hassouni had a sniff at goal with a good calling effort, but it flew inches wide of target. Ali's persistence, however, bore them the second goal. Karaba smashed home on the hour mark after Elsher had picked a long ball from Mohamed Hani on the left before cutting it back into the area. Despite going down 2-0, Wydad kept fighting, and they were denied by the base of the upright in the 68th minute when left back Yahya Atiat Allah swung a volley from the edge of the area. In the 79th minute, they had another effort at goal, but were denied once again by a brilliant Schuber save, the Ali keeper palming away Ayub El Almoud's shot from the right. Their hunger was finally rewarded with 4 minutes to play when Bura, barely 2 minutes on the pitch, rifled into the back of the net after Sambu touched an Amlut cut back into his direction. Ali put in some effort to restore their 2-goal cushion and came close with Tar's shot from distance, but it came to nothing. The home side saw off the result and will now head to Casablanca next weekend, looking to avoid defeat to clinch their 11th title. Wydad will only need in the least a 1-0 victory to retain their crown, and if Ali score, they will have to put 3 more in the back of the net to earn victory. Golf. Mizuho Americans Open. Rozang wins LPGA Tour event 9 days after turning professional. Rozang has won the Mizuho Americans Open on her LPGA Tour debut just 9 days after turning professional. American Zhang, 20, beat Jennifer Kupcho, 26, in the second-hole playoff at the 18th, becoming the first woman to win on her first LPGA appearance since Beverly Hansen in 1951. The pair went to a playoff after finishing 9 under par at the Liberty National Golf Club in New Jersey. "What is happening? I just can't believe it," said Zhang. "To turn pro and come out here and win. It's just been amazing. I've enjoyed the journey. I really got a bit of everything. Got a taste of the pressure, got a taste of the wind, and I tried to stay composed as always. I knew that golf was just a grind, and you really had to dig deep." Zhang had a chance to win on the 18th hole, but shot a bogey, finishing on a 2 over 74 to join compatriot Kupcho, who carded a 9 under 69 in the clubhouse. But she then secured victory inside 4 shorts on the second hole of the playoff, just squandered her putt. Zhang spent a record 141 weeks at the top of the women's amateur rankings, surpassing the previous best of 135 set by Ireland's Leona Maguire. She also won the Augusta National Women's Amateur in April and her second straight NCAA individual title in May. Gab Ellison reporting from Undaunted, ABC Amba News.
Right, thank you so much, Gab Ellison, for that report. And with that sports report, we've come to the end of Undaunted tonight. But before we go, let's take a look at our major stories.
On Undaunted tonight, we brought to you the fun of Bambalang's declaration, saying he is the peace messiah. Also, we brought to you the Belgium reach out the president analysis of the president's speech for the youth and sports event. We also brought to you tonight Ambazonian students penalized by La Republic to Cameroon. The pains of Ambazonian students with La Republic examination timetable.
Well, on the first end, we told you that more Republican has joined the 2024 presidential race. And that was it for tonight on Undaunted, bringing to the news on Church Stories. On behalf of Stersmat and all the other members of Undaunted, we say thank you for tuning in.